Hello everybody, thanks for coming back, or if you are a new viewer, thanks for taking the time to watch. My name is David from the DogDare podcast. I also have a Ravelry group, DogDare on Ravelry, and I also have Instagram account if you care to follow. That's David DogDare. I'll put the info somewhere here for those. But again, thanks for joining. Welcome back. Welcome to any new viewers out there. I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch and join. I'm noticing over the since I've started this podcast, there are quite a lot of wonderful podcasters out there. So I'm just a little, I guess I'm just a little pebble in the beach of podcasts. So I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. Just finished my very first contest, which I had a lot of fun with, that I posted up on Ravelry from my last episode. This is episode number 4 that we're currently doing. Episode number 3, I announced a contest there. You were to head over to my Ravelry group, answer a question there, and I chose 2 winners. So that was a lot of fun to set up and a lot of fun to play. So the winners, number 1, the first winner won $25, or they both won $25 gift certificate to Etsy. The first one was Michelle, number 39, Vin Girl is her Ravelry name. And the winner number 2 that I announced was Wendy from Mrs. Mood Swing, which is a great name over on Ravelry. So congratulations again to both of those wonderful gals. That was a lot of fun. My question over on Ravelry was, if you could spend a night in a haunted location, what yarn and what project would you work on inside that haunted location? So if you have not watched my episode 3, if you have a chance, go back and take a peek, because I gave some, I shared a little bit of how I actually spent the night at a haunted, allegedly haunted, asylum in West Virginia, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Insane Asylum, which I went to last year for my birthday, and I shared some of that. I'll share more during my Halloween episodes. I love Halloween. But what I wanted to do for those winners and any future contests I have, I want to create, when I choose the winner, I want to create a separate video, standalone video that announces that winner specifically. So they're short, and get them up there, and people can get notified that they are the lucky winner. So I'm working on the next contest, and I'll probably announce that in the next podcast that I post sometime next week. So again, if you get a chance, go to my Ravelry group, check out that contest question answers, because there was some wonderful replies in there, some hilarious ones. So I really appreciate everybody taking the time to play. And it looked like everybody had some fun with it. I know I definitely had a lot of fun to it. One other thing connected to that, I know I mentioned in my episode 3, one of my favorite movies is Blair Witch. And I know there's a new Blair Witch Project movie coming out, which I have to say, I finally realized what bugged me about that trailer. And it is that since the first Blair Witch came out, our quality of camera gear has increased. So the quote-unquote found footage from the first Blair Witch was black and white, it was grainy, it was creepy. The new Blair Witch, everything looks HD, like GoPro. So that's one of the things I realized, that's what's bugging me about that trailer, that it looks way too professional. So I'll probably see it just for curiosity's sake. The other thing is, and I don't know if you've noticed this, and maybe it's because I'm getting older, but the new Blair Witch, everybody has to look gorgeous, thin, and they're like teenagers or in their 20s. So that's one thing that bugs me about a lot of these horror movies, is they you know, if you're under 25 and you don't look like a model, you're not in there, you don't exist. So it's kind of, that's the other thing that caught my eye. Like, that's the thing that bugs me about the new Blair Witch, is like, can you not throw someone in there that looks like me? You know, can you not throw someone in there that looks a little more quote unquote normal? Anyway, I'll stop rambling about that, but that was my little take on that. So got some purchases. I have a work in progress. I don't really have any finished objects this week. It's been a bit of a busy couple weeks with work. I'm trying to get my room of requirements, which is what I'm sitting in now, arranged, and it's taken me a little longer than I want it to. So I'll go over some purchases. One of the things that I also wanted to mention is some wonderful podcasters out there that were kind enough, and excuse me, I'm looking at my notes, that were kind enough to mention me on their podcasts. So what's wonderful about not just being mentioned, but what's wonderful about finding new podcasts that I have not seen, it's really great to get other people's takes on it, and just to have people share themselves and their life and their passions and their hobbies, and it's a fun way to connect that way. So a few I'm going to list, I'll also put them on here, but the Yarn Shop Girls, if you have not seen them yet, the Yarn Shop Girls, three gals, Anne, Marissa, and Gail. They actually own a yarn shop, and they actually podcast directly from their yarn shop. So it's wonderful because you can see all the yarn behind them. I mean, wouldn't that be a wonderful job or a wonderful career to have? Check them out if you haven't checked them out yet. They have a great energy about them. They're really sweet. Check them out. The other podcast is titled TSK Podcast. That stands for Three Sisters Knitting. And that's Cheryl and Margaret. They call it three because they've sadly had a sister that passed away, Irene. So they wanted to bring her into their podcast as well, which I think is a really beautiful thing to do. So they're a great little podcast, and I definitely check them out if you get a chance. Really great energy from them too. I have a bit of a thing of, if I can, I'm sure you're the same way. I think if you watch someone on camera and they kind of click. Hopefully I'm doing that, but we'll see. Also Carrie from So Now What. If you have not seen her, I know I mentioned her before, I don't mean to ramble on, but she is an incredible artist with quilting and knitting, of course, and project bags. I have a wonderful project bag and some yarn from her, but she's a very sweetheart. So check her out as well. And the last one is the Reluctant Sisters, who are hilarious. Adrian, Amy, and Sarah have their podcast they started recently, and just a great sense of humor amongst themselves. I'm the youngest of 8 kids. There's a 6-year difference between myself and my next sibling. And part of me thinks that would be pretty awesome to have my siblings, or some of them, join me on this podcast. And I'm not so sure if it would actually go very well. So kudos to those siblings out there who are doing podcasts together, and grocery girls who are doing wonderful. So kudos to you. The other podcast I want to mention is a relatively new one, and they're called Color and Life Podcast. It's a mother and son duo, Jennifer and John Michael, and I just found them by accident a week ago. I'm sure you're the same way. When there's nothing on television you want to watch, and you go to the YouTube, you do a search, and there they are, and just a really great energy, mother and son duo. I would love to have had my mother on my podcast. It would have been wonderful. But they have a really fun connection and very funny. So I really highly recommend you go check them out if you can, or add them to your roster and check them out. A lot of fun. So, all right, let's get to, okay. So this is episode number 4 of the DogDare podcast. My name is David. And I think it's probably time to talk about the elephant that is in the room. It's about time. So I want to really be vulnerable here and talk about the elephant that is in the room. And here it is. Is that not awesome? It's a yarn bowl that I got on Etsy last week. I came across this. It's from an artist named Mad Mud on Etsy. This is my second yarn bowl. And I know before I bought a yarn bowl, I thought I didn't quite understand I understood the concept. I just didn't quite understand why it was needed. Well, I got my first one and loved it. And it actually holds up. You know, there's a good weight to it, good heft to it, so it keeps it nice and secure. And, you know, I have an affinity for elephants. I think they're quite wonderful spiritual animals. So that's one of the new things I got this week. The other thing is, so got some wonderful yarns from a company called Knitsomniac Designs. Knitsomniac. Let's see if that's coming in. And I think I connected to Knitsomniacs from in Instagram. And, you know, I know you guys are the same way. You see a yarn on Instagram or YouTube and you just instantly go over to their website or Etsy and have to buy it. You have no choice. You have no control over it. One of the other things that caught me about this artist is the name of the yarn, the colorways. This one is called Zombie Apocalypse. Now, how awesome is that? I hope that's catching it in the light well. Zombie Apocalypse. Love it. And then I got two other ones from the same artist. This one is called He Who Must Not Be Named. We all know what that refers to. But look at those colors. Just want to eat them. And then the last one from Knitsomniac, at least the last one for this week, I know I'm going to want to purchase more. He Who Walks Behind the Rose. I don't know if any of you know what that refers to, but I instantly caught it. It's from Children of the Corn. Does that not look like that would go with that? Awesome. Love those. So wonderful artist. I never had any interest in dyeing yarn. I value those that do, obviously. But the more I'm seeing these wonderful artists who dye stuff, and especially the names that they give them, it has me kind of thinking, maybe I should give that a try. And I am no way saying I'll ever make anything nearly as beautiful as you true dyers do out there. But I think the fun process would be coming up with the colorways and then coming up with the names. I think that would be fun. So the other thing I got is a weave around circular loom kit. I don't know if you guys and gals have ever seen this before, but it's a way to weave. You put the yarn on it and then you weave circularly, and you can create many things out of that. But this is something that I came across recently and wanted to give it a try. And I think the Knitsomniac yarn would actually look pretty amazing woven circularly. Planets, galaxies, that's sort of my mind thought of. I'd like to create something like that. Maybe put some small glass beads in with the weaving. I mentioned before I have a Sayori loom and a shacked ladybug, lady gentleman, spinning wheel. My next episode I'll solely devote to weaving and spinning. So I'll show off my Sayori loom and the spinning wheel I have and some fiber on that video. So that'll be next week or so. I even got fiber that matches the three dogs currently, or that are in my life. Pinch, which is a black fiber. Huck, who's a schnauzer. Pinch is a min pin. Huck is a gray schnauzer, so I got gray fiber. And Bailey, who is my Jack Russell, white. And then I got some brown and other fiber, raw fiber to... My goal is to spin some skeins that correlates to the color of those doggies. And then from there, I'm probably going to weave something with my Sayori loom as a sort of a memorial or honor to Pinch and Bailey. Huck is still with me. He's in the other room. Luckily not barking yet. But anyway, so next episode I'll devote towards weaving and my spinning wheel. Excuse me, I need to take a quick drink. Coffee. Vanilla coffee bean with sugar and cream. I'm trying to cut out sugar. It's a challenge for me. I'm a vegetarian. for over a year now. So that actually has not been too bad for me. I tried to struggle with that for years. And finally something clicked in me, so I'm a vegetarian. Don't worry, I ain't gonna preach about it. But I would like to try veganism. That's a big challenge for me, getting rid of eggs and cream or milk. But out of all that, the hardest thing for me is to cut sugar. I friggin' love sugar. You know, Danishes, bread, all that stuff. Anyway. All right, my current whip that I care to show, because there's a few other whips I'm working on that are a little scary. This is a holiday scarf I'm creating for a friend of mine. This is knitting, mindless knitting, because there's no pattern to it, as you can see. But a lot of times I like the simplicity of something that is just a straight knit. I also like the idea of just kind of zoning out completely and not putting my brain to use. What I do have it on, I don't know if any of you have seen this, it's a DPN holder. So you slide your work in here to store it, and you screw that on, and it keeps it nice and secure. And I love that the idea that it is wooden. This is from a company called Knitzy.com, KNITZI.com. It's a husband and wife team, handcrafted. They come in different finishes, different woods, but I thought that was really beautiful. I have a thing with, you know, the accessories and the notions, trying to be wooden and natural when possible. So Knitzy.com, if you get a chance, check them out. I bought this probably 8 months ago. I know you guys can relate to this also. If I didn't have internet access in my life, I probably would save a fortune, because, you know, you put these guidelines on yourself of like, I ain't gonna spend anything this month. I'm gonna be good. I don't need any more yarn. I have thousands of skeins. Who needs more yarn? And then you find yourself going to a cart, hitting add cart, going to PayPal, paying for it, and then feeling like Christmas when it comes in the mail. So what can I do? Arrest me. There you have it. Last thing I got this week was something from a company or a place called Wolverton Mountain, Montana. I'm sorry, Wolverton Mountain, Montana. It's from Etsy, made in the USA, but it is a hand spinner. And I just got it yesterday, so you spin it in that way. And I saw this and thought, let me give this a try. Again, I just got it yesterday, so I'll try it this week. In next week's episode, when it's devoted to weaving, or to my savory loom and my spinning wheel, I'll show you how that turned out, if I didn't break my wrist or something. But those are some fun little new things that I've purchased. I know I added to my Revelry group a listing, a topic for questions. If you have any questions, anything you'd like to see on future episodes, let me know. I'm definitely open to suggestions. One person kindly added a question in there that if I could show some of the stuff from my surroundings. Of course, as you know, I love to ramble. So the first one I'll show is something that I have, is this. It's called a spirit rattle. I have no idea who makes it. I've purchased this. There you go. Spirit rattle. The story behind this was a friend of mine 25 years ago had this in her beautiful home in a curio cabinet. And I saw it, and I was instantly, I loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing. I love the colors. I love the feel of it. I loved it. It's one of those things that I'm sure you can understand, that you see something and it just clicks. And oddly enough, that's something, you know, she didn't have any history of where she got it from either, so I couldn't track it down. And, you know, every once in a while I would go on eBay, and I didn't know how to describe that, you know, spirit rattle, man with beads in it, who knows. And about a year and a half ago, I was on eBay and remembered it and thought I'd do a search, and lo and behold, it popped up on eBay. Someone was selling it. So I watched it, and luckily was the high bidder on it. And it didn't really go for that much. Came in the mail, opened it, and it was exactly what I remembered from her version. So I was very happy with that find. And I know with a lot of the stuff in my room, a lot of it it came about that way. Something clicked in me. I liked it. I bought it or bid on it. It was given to me. What's funny now, my partner Billy, his parents will every once in a while will come over and bring over a little trinket or a little sculpture thing that they think would look great in this room. So they're getting a kick out of adding to my collection as well. My partner Billy thinks the room's going to fall in because there's so much stuff in here. But there you go. So I'll show off more little goodies along the way. But what else did I want to ramble about? Again, I really want to thank everybody who participated in the contest that I had going last week. I think that was a lot of fun. Some wonderful answers were given. And I really, I felt honored that people participated in my very first contest. That's one of the things I mentioned when I started this podcast, is I really like the idea of contests and being creative with what the contest will be, and being, having some fun and creativity with how to announce the winners. Even if you haven't played, check out my videos for the contest winners, especially winner number 2. I had a lot of fun filming and editing that one by myself. So I think the next contest, I'm debating whether it will be, it won't be scary, but I have a few ideas of what I'll announce, and I'll announce that next week. Other than that, I think that is about it. I just wanted to do a quick, fun little video. I know I rambled a lot, but show off a few goodies. Oh, before I forget, my yarn war is, I guess, what I'm calling it. I'll do a better video of this in a few minutes, but I needed or wanted a curio cabinet that was open so I could see from the outside glass to put my yarn in, and the notions and all the trinkets. Obviously, they're not all going to fit in here, but I was eyeing this cabinet from IKEA for a while now, and went and checked it out a couple weeks ago and bought it, and put it together. I'm on Oddball. I love putting IKEA furniture together. Weirdo. Years ago, I had a really good friend of mine that we were roommates, and it was the first time in Berkeley, California. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I am now out here in North Carolina, as I mentioned in my last podcast. We went to IKEA when they first opened and bought a boatload of furniture for our apartment that we were sharing, my roommate and I. His bedroom, my bedroom. And 2 days, came home and 2 days worth of assembling IKEA furniture, and I had a blast with it. IKEA is not the most clear-cut instructions, so you kind of have to think about it and finagle it. My advice, read the instructions 4 times before you even start. And as you start and you go along, before you screw something in, you just really make sure it looks good. Look at a few of the steps ahead of where you're at, because sometimes that helps you to determine how to position the actual piece. Anyway, that's my little advice about IKEA. But anyway, I love this cabinet. I think it's a perfect fit. I still have more yarn stuff, but I wanted to put the brighter color, the nicer things in here that I liked a lot. So I had a lot of fun with creating that. Or not creating it, a lot of fun assembling it and then filling it with stuff. And my first thought after I finished it and looked back, I'm like, I could probably use more hand-dyed yarn. So anyway, that was a lot of fun to build and assemble. So I'm probably going to move this to another part of the room, which is hence my challenge with getting this room completed. But it's a work in progress. I know next month I have to go to San Francisco for a work convention. It's a week long. It's something I dread every year because it's just a lot of work. a lot of long hours, and you were just busting your buns to handle everything. So this year I'll take some video from San Francisco and then upload it to that podcast that I of mine that I created at the time. But it's been a little busy for me prepping and stuff for the work stuff, so that's why I don't have a lot to show as far as works in progress or finished objects. One thing I am doing is I'm deciding what yarn and pattern to take with me to San Francisco when I'm there that week, because a lot of times I'm up late at night waiting for certain. I'm a webcast producer and a project manager, production project manager for a company that I've worked at for 17 years. Not my company. So it's almost like herding kitties is what I call it. You have a job. You have to kind of corral people to make sure that their stuff is done. And anyway, a lot of long hours for this event coming up. So I want to take a project with me, and I'm still struggling with stocks, so I haven't given up yet, but I think I want to take a shawl of some sort or a blanket of some sort, something, a large project that can take a lot of time. So I'm going to be choosing the 3 skeins of yarn colorways that I want, and then the pattern this week, because I need to order the yarn and have it with me when I go up there to the event in San Francisco. As to why I'm bundled up, I just realized on the camera I look like a Scrooge character. It's cold here in North Carolina. It's Friday, and it looks like it's going to rain and storm, so it's a little chilly. So that's why I look a little bit bundled up, if you were wondering. So I think I will stop. I'll put you out of your misery. I will stop rambling. Short episode, but short and sweet, or hopefully sweet. Again, I really honestly thank you all for watching. I really thank you all for subscribing. It's really, I really appreciate it. Making comments is wonderful. And I'm having a lot of fun. It's just a fun little thing for me to put up there and getting my creative juices going, and just having a lot of fun with it. So I really appreciate your time to watch, because I know everybody's time is valuable, obviously. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, so I know if you're like me, it's fun to kind of just turn something on and escape in it and share our common hobby. So there you have it. Thanks again. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I hope you all do something really sweet and wonderful for yourself. And I will catch you next time. See you on Instagram and Ravelry. Take care.